It's now 19 minutes after the hour of 7 o'clock on this Monday morning. Welcome back to the Now Morning Show. Now, the Ministry of Digital Transformation has a national digital transformation strategy, which is intended to be a roadmap to integrate technology into what is now termed the digital transformation agenda. It is intended to be sustainable and holistic in nature, promoting inclusivity with wide consultation and engagement of all stakeholders. And with me to talk more about this is the Chief National Digital Officer at the Ministry of Digital Transformation, Mr. Wendell Mitchell. Mr. Mitchell, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Kimberly. Happy to be here.
Now, Mr. Mitchell, you were telling me that today is your first day on the job.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
How does that feel?
Well, it feels good to be here, and it feels good to be starting off fresh and,
ready for them.
Ready for them.
Now, the Chief National Digital Officer, what is the role? What does it entail? Just share some of your responsibilities.
So the role really, it's part of the Ministry of Digital Transformation, and we are what I want to call a partner ministry, because in our role or mandate, for instance, is to find new ways to enable end-to-end services and delivery of services to our customers, citizens, etc. And the lanyard is using appropriate technology. So it's really about the technology of itself it enables solutions, it does not solve problems. So we're there about working with the different ministries, working with different stakeholders, working in society and looking at the problems that we have that the technology can solve and partnering with them.
Right. What are some of those problems you see us having that the ministry may need to get involved in to find those solutions?
Well, the ministry has a plan that works at 3 pillars, and the 3 pillars, first of all, the first thing that you have to address is the digital society. That's the first pillar. And it doesn't make sense if we have all of this technology or all of these services and persons can't, one, access the technology. So we have to ensure that access to technology is pervasive and it's not discriminatory. It's not based on whether you can afford a laptop or these sort of things, but everyone has access to technology. So there must not be a technology divide, both from the resources perspective and secondly from an education perspective, because if you recognize, I remember when I was working in the bank and ATMs first came out, persons were very intimidated to go and push their card in there and they feel the machine would steal their money and these sort of things. So you have to address both the literacy needs, you have to create the trust, because you can have a good solution, but people, if they don't trust it, if they're fearful, they would not use it. So it's the digital society, so having the society empowered, enabled, and motivated to use the technology. So that's the first pillar. The second pillar is digital government. So of course you must have services that are ready and able, simple, easy, fast to use. And one of the things that we want to do in particular in digital government is we've coined the phrase no wrong door, because sometimes, I don't know if anyone has had the experience, okay, you go to this ministry, but for this part you have to go here down the road, then you have to come back here, then you have to move to the left, move to the right, and that's not the
which can be very tedious.
Can be very tedious.
Yes.
So the idea is no wrong door. So there's no wrong door. So that's the digital government.
Now, when you say no wrong door, it means that there's no wrong ministry you can go to, or is it that everything can be done at one ministry?
Well, yes, it's both.
Right.
So if you've started something somewhere, say you went to a particular ministry and you realize you need to sort out something with your ID.
Yes.
It's not as simple. You go down the road and come back after it took a week or 2 to get an appointment. Yeah. So they can collaborate. So it's really getting more collaboration. Of course, there's some legal things we have to ensure, because if the National Security Ministry has information on you and maybe when you were 16, you stole your parents' car and you bounced it and stuff, you want to make sure that information does not get leaked to the wrong person. Right. So security
and confidentiality,
and those things have to be addressed. The third one is the also important, digital economy. As Mark Senhouse says, we need the money, and therefore we have to find ways of stimulating growth in technology-enabled growth in society. So whether it be through the efforts of the ministry, local corporations and businesses, they find ways to improve their revenue or reduce their costs, or even international or multinational agencies decide, hey, Trinidad is open for business, we want to do business here. And my favorite is empowering entrepreneurs and all these young, bright people. We have so many young, bright people, and unfortunately, they have to go away to shine. So you want them to know they can shine
that
right
they can
here.
right here.
Yes.
Now, the 3 pillars that you mentioned, Mr. Mitchell, does this fall under the National Digital Transformation Strategy that covers that 2023 to 2026 period?
Well, the strategy, they will inform the strategy, so they're basically the philosophies. The strategy would more be you would say that those are the why behind what we are doing, the pillars, but the strategy would be the how we are going to do it, what we are going to do, and how we are going to do it. Now, part of that also means that technology always changes. You do something today, you think you get the latest phone today, and tomorrow
there's a new
obsolete.
one. Yes, yes.
So what we have to do is create a framework where it is always evolving. So there's not going to be one static strategy, but it's really creating an enabling framework where we can always continue to evolve with the latest and greatest technology, ensure that we can also find the right partners, interactive persons who are interested, persons not just interested in making money, but have the country at heart. Because at the end of the day, we can make life easier for our citizens. We can also ensure that we are prosperous in doing it. We don't have to become poor just because we want to give internet to everybody.
Everyone.
Yes.
Now, I like that you mentioned the partners, because I know that part of the strategy is that co-creation. And so how will that co-creation work in, us actually implementing what the ministry wants to?
Well, basically what will happen, the co-creation, the ministry, we see ourselves as an enabler. And it therefore means that persons have ideas, and there's no bad idea. Just sometimes you can, if you look at it, you can have good execution of a bad idea and it does not benefit anything. Or you can have so-so execution of a good idea. So the co-creation is about getting all the ideas on the table and having a mechanism to sift through them. A previous place where I worked, we had a motto that says, fail fast and fix in flight. So learn the lessons. Sometimes we go with analysis paralysis and we try to say, okay, wait till the ministry has all the answers. No, we have a lot of brilliant scholars, we have a lot of businesses. The answer resides not just within the country, but within the diaspora.
So then who are these stakeholders that will be responsible for bringing all these ideas to the table?
So the stakeholders, so in our case, we would have had, first of all, on the international partners, we have partnered with UNDP, IADB, and the Caribbean Development Bank, and they're putting resources and these sort of things to ensure that we learn from what other countries have done, and we can build on that. We also have locally technology companies who are being part of the training, the development, bringing information capital to help us do what we need to do, and those are like Cisco, Microsoft, etc.
Right. Now, I know that we had celebrated, and we're still celebrating, you can even say, the Youth Week, National Youth Week. And I know that we mentioned the IADB and the UNDP, but how do we get youth involved in that process as well?
Well, one of the things, we have something called the Developer Hub, and that is being formulated. And in there, it's about having young, bright persons inside there, fired up with ideas, And it's not just technology persons, persons who know business, mechanical engineers and these sorts of things, because at the end of the day, these solutions have to enable new processes, new services in the core activities of the country. So whether it be oil and gas, energy, manufacturing. So you want persons, scholars, anyone who's been involved in those things, and they said, you know, this could help us become more efficient, this could help us make more revenue, this could help us export things faster. So we, in that developers hub, we're going to have a mix of persons, process, subject matter experts, and yes, some developers, because it is a developer hub.
Yes.
And they come together. And if you know the whole, when you look at how the atmosphere is in Google, where you have a kind of creative environment and everybody just sits around and brainstorms and these sort of things. So it's creating an enabling environment for ideas and these sort of things to come out, to flow, and have people encouraged to express their ideas. There's no wrong suggestion, and have people fired up to just go out there and try things, or as Nike says, just do it.
Now, Mr. Mitchell, I know that the Ministry of Digital Transformation is new, but it would have been a breakaway from the Ministry of Public Administration. And I know that we've been having the conversation about e-government and digitization for years. Yes. And so people listening to this plan, they may be a bit jaded or cynical about how exactly can we go about actually attaining these developmental goals. What would you say to them?
Well, I will say that yes, there have been challenges in the past, but what I would say when we made initial headway under Fast Forward, and now what I'm seeing now is that it is about everyone bringing their interests to the table. So when we are making decisions, when we are deliberating things, we know all the available technologies, we know what the problems, we know what the solutions are. We won't always get it right, but we want to be in a position where we are always listening. We are always open to new things. It's that kind of culture that we are trying to create. And what I will say as well is that a lot of times we want to bring things from the States and we don't thaw it out. We are Trinis. We are Trinis. So all of this formal documentation and you do the plan and all that's not going to work for us. I always tell people, we talk about, okay, Trinidadians not good at implementing projects. I say, yes, we are good. We have at least 100 projects we bring in on time and within budget, because you never see a carnival band go out on Ash Wednesday. And therefore, what makes that happen? The whole mass camp environment, the whole vibe, creating the vibe, and everybody has a stakeholder. There's not a thing about, well, that is your job, that is not my job. When you go into those places, when you go in a mass camp, it's frictionless. It's not about, well, this is, everybody does what they have to do to get the costumes out on time and make sure everybody has fun.
Now, I know we have to do quickly, Mr. Mitchell, but one more question. Are we afraid that as we're moving towards a digital landscape, there will be some people who are left behind?
Yes, and that is where the digital society is in place. Now, one of the things, you can't force persons to embrace digital, but one of the things that you can do is that you can create more persons in what I call customer service areas. So one of the things that the banks do, for instance, is when you come in to open an account, they have the little kiosk on the side, and instead of the teller doing it for you, they may pull you to the side and say, come, let me show you how to do it. So if we are willing, rather than tell you, show you, and walk with you, if you look at some of the models for digital corporations, they move from having these desks and long queues to these chairs and these areas where you sit down and you're comfortable and you can ask your questions.
So what you're saying is there will be somebody to help you every step of the way while we transition to a digital society?
Yes, okay. That is the intention, yes.
Well, Mr. Mitchell, thank you so much for coming in. Is there a number that people can call or they can reach out to if they need further information?
Well, you can go to the ministry's website at mdt.gov.tt.
Right. And I'm also seeing a hotline number on the screen as well. Is it 800-8826?
Yes, that's the hotline number. And of course, there's an email address transformtt@mdt.gov.tt.
Well, Mr. Mitchell, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your thoughts. I can see why you were hired for the position. So, of course, all the best moving forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
Of course. And that was Mr. Mitchell just giving us some updates on the digital transformation that's going to be happening. And, of course, it's going to be rolled out by the Ministry of Digital Transformation. You're on the Now Morning Show. We have so much more coming up. Stay with us.